Hello, everyone. If you don't know who I am, my name is Neil. I have decompensated liver cirrhosis and stage liver failure. I know I don't look like it. Right now, things are going a little bit better than what they were previously in the past. Anyway, the reason why I'm doing this video is because I thought I'd do my story again. Just kind of talk about what I went through and first experiencing, and looking back now, looking at some of these signs I may have had that I didn't realize what was going on back when this disease started causing issues and started affecting me. For the most part, I didn't know that I even had a problem until, well, it was kind of too late. And that is real common for this disease because the liver is an amazing organ. It's extremely regenerative. Can't speak today, apparently. It's extremely resilient. It does a lot of things in your body. A lot of people think that, we think you drink alcohol and it filters the alcohol out, or, it filters bad things in your body. But it does more than that. It's vital in processing proteins, and it's vital in helping you fight infections, and it's vital in you having clotting abilities in your blood, and it's vital to so many things. And without it, you can't live. And what happens, it winds up affecting all the other organs and cause them to shut down as well. Which is, it's kind of the engine. Well, I mean, that's kind of a bad analogy, but in a way, it's kind of like the main part to this automobile we call a body. It's extremely important. For me, I was actually diagnosed, the first time someone ever said that I had liver failure was May 7th of 2022. So almost 2 years now. So in a month from now, it'll be 2 years. But I noticed a few things. So for me, when it comes to alcohol, and a lot of people think alcohol and liver disease go hand in hand, but there's so many other things that cause it. But however, though, as far as, my drinking and stuff, when I didn't really drink till I turned 21. And then I probably drank till I was about 25. And then didn't drink again until I was probably close to 40, 39 maybe. So it was a long time. It was 14 years without even a drop of alcohol. Went through some tough situations, went through a divorce and some personal things in my life, and started drinking. First it was something sociable with friends and things like that, and then I was drinking a lot more than I should. I was drinking hard liquor every night. I drank. Sometimes in the mornings when I woke up I did it. I was having a rough period in my life. But I would say, thinking back now, the first actual signs that I saw, and I was still only drinking beer. I wasn't even drinking any hard liquor. It was probably a couple months after I started picking up beers again with some friends and stuff. And I noticed that my legs were swollen. There was fluid buildup in my left leg. And didn't think much of it. I thought, oh, well, I'm almost 40, so maybe that's it. I saw it. I didn't associate the two things together at all at that point in time. But that was minor at the time. Looking back now, there are a lot of things that I did, said, actions that I'm not proud of, that I don't even remember doing for some of them, and others I can't even imagine what was going through my mind. And that's one of the side effects of liver failure. You get hepatic encephalopathy, which basically is poisoning of the brain. It causes you to kind of go insane, causes you to do things you wouldn't normally do, causes you to act ways emotions. I went through one period of time where I had such bad depression. I couldn't even get out of bed, and this went on for 3 months at one point. And uh, the hard thing is, and I think mentally I checked out with everything going through, and with the liver disease, and I didn't even know the liver disease was happening while I was dealing with all these emotional things. And of course, emotional wise, I was taught to hold everything in, deal with it. And not that has anything to do with the liver disease, but I do find that positivity is huge when it comes to healing and trying to stay healthy. And you really got to find a way to try to stay positive through all the bad stuff. But anyway, with that said, going back. So anyway, this went on, and then wound up living on my own through the the life situations and stuff. And I was still drinking every night. And I remember it got to the point, one, I was throwing up a lot. I would find myself randomly just get sick, throw up, and then I was fine, and I'd go back and and I'd have another shot or have another beer or whatever. This one I couldn't eat. Every time I would eat stuff, I would want to throw up. And this started happening. And, I, again, still didn't associate it. I knew there was something wrong, and I was kind of scared of it. But I was like, well, just ignore it. And then as time went on, it started becoming more obvious to me that there were liver issues. And I remember my daughter saying to me that my eyes were yellow. And then I noticed that, and then my face started thinning, and I started losing all my muscles. And I used to be really muscular, and I worked in the automotive business all my life, and lifting up engines and lifting heavy machinery and using the hammer and stuff like that was never a problem. And all of a sudden, I had no strength. All my muscles were gone. I didn't know it, but my liver was eating my muscles. It wasn't producing proteins, and it started eating my body. And then I started getting these hernias. What happened was my stomach was filling up with fluid, and my muscles were being eaten away. And all this fluid building up kept pushing, and it pushed all, the intestines out of the body. And, so now I got 3 hernias that I deal with on a daily basis. And they won't do surgery because, with the liver disease, it's too much of a risk. However, though, this continued going on. And then I even quit drinking a few times for a good 3 months straight, about twice. And then I got thinking that if I just stopped drinking or just started eating better, started taking care of myself, the liver would heal itself. Because I read that. And, so I started not drinking, and well, it didn't get better. I couldn't sleep. I had so much pressure built up on my stomach. I couldn't breathe. I started not being able to breathe. I couldn't walk 10 feet without being so far out of breath that I was gasping for air. So finally, I decided to go in. And they did the test initially, and they found that my right lung was completely filled with fluid. He said that my right lung was pretty much completely collapsed, yet I was still pulling 98 pulse ox, if you know what that is. That's the oxygen in your blood. And I was doing that with one lung. But it was extremely uncomfortable. And then they did the scans, and they found the fluid in my stomach, and they said I was in liver failure. And I was like, liver failure? Oh my gosh. And, I kind of had a sneaking suspicion that something major like that was going on, because it was just too much. And then it just started getting worse. And I knew that with all the drinking, I knew something was wrong with the body. I could feel it. I didn't know what it was, but I remember thinking that I'm going to die. I remember thinking that this is it. I'm not going to live past a year. And then the drinking would go on, and I would continue with that, and then I'd stop, and then I'd go back to it for a while. And so then I wound up in the hospital, and I was in the hospital for a good 10 days. They pulled the fluid out of me, gave me this list of medicines, and said, well, you have liver failure. Come see me in my office in a month. So I did, and the doctor I had at the time didn't say much, and I still didn't really know what liver failure was. I didn't know really what the liver did. No one explained it to me. They didn't take the time. I was really lost. I was really confused. And then this kept going on. I kept filling up with fluid in my lung, and the fluid kept coming back gram positive, which is like staph infections and things. So this continued happening, and eventually they put a chest tube in, and I was in the hospital for more than a month at that time, and they gave me 90 days to live. They did all these surgeons and stuff went and had a meeting about me at the hospital board about a liver transplant, and they decided I wasn't eligible because I didn't have a support system where I was at the time. Which makes sense. I mean, if they're going to give you an organ, they want you to have the best chance of survival and recovery as possible. And they know that it's hard to fight through this stuff, and without any support, it's even harder. And they would rather give that organ to somebody that's got a fighting chance. So I wasn't upset at that because I get it. I knew on paper that this was, my chances of survival with a liver transplant, if nobody's there to take care of me or to help me, is probably not going to happen. So I made the choice to move and had to make a tough decision, and things started getting a little bit better. I stayed very diligent with my eating of the proteins, the extra proteins, exercise, staying out, and I started finding ways to stay positive. And, even though there was no reason to be positive for quite a while, everything that could ball up at once and just explode did. And not only that, I was going through this life situation, but now I've got a impending doom over my head in the form of liver cirrhosis. So I continued fighting, and my last video I posted was about getting financial help. So I did that, and I looked for different ways. You can watch that video if you want. It was the last video before this one. And I wound up surviving and continue fighting, and anyway, I was even actually able to go back to work for a couple months. I wound up getting sick again and in the hospital because it was putting too much stress on me. So I have to be positive. There are some good things. I mean, I'm still here. I still woke up this morning, and I'm going to keep on going until, something positive eventually happens. And that's my hope. And it doesn't seem like much, but you really need to focus on that hope when you got a disease like this, because it's the only thing that's going to help you survive. Without hope, there really isn't anything. And there's no point in continuing on if there's nothing to continue on for, right? So I find things. The hope to be happy one day and to continue on, that's what I hold on to. And I continue to fight. Later on this month, they're going to do a liver biopsy because they want to take a look further into the cells and things like that, and see if there's anything else that could be contributing to the liver disease other than what they know so far. So I got that going on, so I'll make a video about that once I do that and update everybody. But it's been a long road. It's been 2 years. I spent a good 6 months straight in the hospital back in 2022, pretty much through May through October, constantly. I've had 9 varices binded. Varices are bleeding veins. I have portal hypertension, which is a blockage of that main portal vein that goes to your liver. So what happens is it needs to get blood through, so it starts making new roads, and these veins are called varices, and they go through your esophagus and they can burst. I remember at one point I had gotten home and I just didn't feel right. It was a real funny feeling in my stomach, and I eventually threw up blood, and went in, and so far, like I said, I've had about 9 varices binded. So I've had that done. I've had my stomach drained. I've had my lung drained more times than my stomach. For some reason, the lung kept on filling up. So it's been a road, and I'm going to continue on. So if you're going through this too, and I know that I've gotten such a great feedback from some of you, and I'm starting to get to know some of you through your comments, and which is awesome. I'm so happy that there are other people out there that are enjoying these videos and that it makes a difference, because I want to help everybody I possibly can with this, because like most people, until it hits you, you've never even thought about it. Liver disease. Did I think 20 years ago that I'd be living with a disease with no cure? No. And I don't think there's anyone out there that's going through any kind of chronic disease that goes, 15 years ago, this is what I was hoping for. No. Things change, and it can hit you like a ton of bricks. And it did. It did. And, I just find things keep going. So that's what I recommend for you too. Financially is tough. My last video was about that. I was able to get on disability, so I'm grateful for that. It doesn't cover everything. It's, I never thought at the age of 40 I'd be, living on a fixed income. I always thought that was a senior citizen thing, but not for me. But I'm grateful for it. Hope to get a car eventually soon again, so I can start, getting around a little better. So that's one of my goals. But yeah, make goals. Speaking of goals, make them. Little things, nothing crazy, just small things. You want to get outside and spend a half an hour outside in the sun, make that your goal for the day. You want to try a new food, make that your goal for the day. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It doesn't have to be giant. It doesn't have to be amazing. It can just be something simple. And that's what, find things to hold on to. So, but as for me, that's what I'm going to continue doing. I'm going to continue holding on. I'm going to continue finding hope and fighting, and hopefully I see an end to this. And, the truth be the reality, I may not. I may not get that liver. I may not survive this. And until I don't, or until I do, I'm going to continue going. And that's what I recommend to anybody who's going through this. Live each day, like it's your last, and just keep going. Stay positive, keep fighting. Also, thank you to everybody who has followed me and liked my videos and commented. Those are amazing, and I never thought I'd be over 1,300 followers, and I am, and I'm so grateful. Thank you to everybody who has donated my GoFundMe, and also has done the super chats. Thank you so much for that. That is huge, and it's a big help. And I've said it so many times, that GoFundMe, I may not get a ton from it, but somebody donates $10, and it's coming a week before it's time to get my disability, and I need some little bit of food or something. That $10 is huge. I can't tell you how many times that it has gotten me through those little things like that. So I thank everybody who's donated. If you want to continue to help, you can. It will be linked in the description. Also, it's linked in my bio. My GoFundMe account is. But again, that's not why I make these videos. I make these videos to help people. And I hope this video helps you. So stay blessed, stay awesome, and everybody have a wonderful day. Take care.